Well, good evening. My name is Peter Cardinal. We're out here on the Cornerstone Ranch on the beautiful Kikino Métis settlement in northeastern Alberta. I'm going to have a little talk about food production here today. My wife and I moved here in 2001 onto the ranch. We started developing a bison ranch here. We have about 25 head left. We have the entrepreneurial spirit here. We love the ranch lifestyle. We have a carriage rental business that we rent carriages out. We do photography. She's a dog breeder, so she's a dog breeder of the little dogs. When we moved here, one of the things that I initially got interested in was having access to healthy food. Way back in the 80s, I started looking, and I realized that bison was one of the sources of red meat that had very good food qualities to it, and it was healthier than many of the other ones. I'm also a hunter, so we do a lot of wild game meat processing for ourselves also. I got interested in food production way back in 2008. I started looking at ways that we could possibly build a meat processing plant here on a settlement. Our cattle ranchers here sell roughly 1,000 head of beef a year. We have there's two other bison ranchers, and the community owns a bison ranch. So I started looking into that and found out how the agribusinesses have evolved over the decades here in Canada. And what I ended up finding was not something that I was very happy with. I started finding out about the chemicalization of the food industry around cattle, and then that led me into looking into the vegetable side of the food services here, and finding out that the evolution of agribusinesses for the maximization and production of the lands, that the introduction of chemicals has now impacted us. There are many studies done on us Aboriginal people, and one of the things that it shows that as a group, as an ethnicity group, we have some of the highest diabetes rates in Canada. Also, another negative impact is the cancer rates that our people live with. And I started looking for what are solutions to some of these problems after finding all this information. So I started doing a bunch of research and found the connection between food and health. So I started looking into different things. I was talking with many different people on food, the growing of food, and then research was showing that healthy food was one of the ways that you could lessen these negative impacts. However, the costs around having access to organic vegetables was basically out of the reach of many Aboriginal people. The studies showed that organic vegetables lessen the negative impacts around heart disease, cancer, diabetes, and those are the main things that affect us. So I started looking and discussing with people, how could we solve this issue of access to healthy food? So we end up going to finding out, well, we found out that organic vegetables are part of a cure. So we started looking at how can we participate in that. So we went to Medicine Hat. The tribal council there has a certified organic vegetable garden, and it was awesome to see. You know, they're growing a lot of good vegetables. However, they're only good for probably 2 months out of the year that you can actually eat the food out of there. Then you can preserve some. So that was one way that was helping. I was on a board that led me to a conference in Medicine Hat, Alberta, and when I was traveling in there, I noticed a sign saying that they're the greenhousing capital of Alberta. So I was sitting at the conference with the MLA from the region, and we were talking about it, and he gave me a little background on how they had built up their region as the greenhousing capital. And what they did is they created a producer-owned co-op called the Red Hat Co-op. And all these producers, I think at the time there was 48 of them, they all collectively built this business, and that Red Hat Co-op, all they did was market for them. They didn't grow anything. The people grew out at home on the land where they want to live, and they took all their products there, and they they basically cleaned it, bagged it, and distributed it to wherever they had acquired contracts for the food. So that system, I was telling him, man, that would be awesome to go see. So he phoned up the general manager and lined up a tour for me. So I went over there and took a look at it and just thought, wow, this system would work. I started wondering, well, okay, well maybe we can do something similar as Aboriginal people to give us access to good food. So I went and I toured what was supposedly the best system in the region there, and the guy had a 10-acre glass greenhouse, and it was a wow setup, very impressive. However, he only grew one product, and he said that was the best bang for his buck. And when we had initially checked into this, we thought, well, how can we market something? We've got to have an end user who's willing to buy all our product. And geographically, where we're situated, we're in northeastern part of Alberta, right on one of the routes into the oil sands industry. So we looked at, is it possible to market to the camp industry? There's tens of thousands of people living in work camps, and the need for vegetables exists. I found out that like the majority of the vegetables that arrive there in the off seasons come from Southern California, Texas, and Mexico. So I thought, wow, if we could get in here and get into part of this market, we could cut down that transportation costs. We could eliminate that. We could also eliminate the pollution created by this trucking industry that move these products to the north. So we looked at that. Be one of our strengths that we could possibly look at. So I went and I met with one of the businesses that supply that industry with their vegetables, and had a discussion around what if we participate in this food industry as an Aboriginal group here. And they were very positive about that. They thought, well, yeah, you guys will cut down transportation costs, you can eliminate the greenhouse gases created by the transportation industry. Access to fresh food, local, was another interesting factor for them. So I started looking at ways that we could do this, and then I was introduced to the aquaponic system. The aquaponic system, to me, was a very interesting system that is being created. It's in use, and that's where they use, it's like hydroponics, except you're using fish as the fertilizer for the plants. So everything that you grow is organic, and I thought, wow, perhaps we can build one of these systems, and that would enable our community here in Kikino to have access to healthy vegetables. So we started looking into the system, found a company out by Edmonton that was building a commercial scale model. So we went and met with them and looked at their system. It was awesome. So we're pursuing that one right now, and there are others that are being developed. It's an up-and-coming way of growing food, I believe, that is going to be growing huge in our country. So I looked at, we have 7 First Nations and 4 Métis settlements in our region here. When I met with the food provider, and the discussion was if we could have one in each settlement or each community, he said that they had the capacity that they could buy everything we could produce. Now that was very interesting, that if we as Aboriginal people in our region could get together and each have one in our communities. And I thought back to that model that Red Hat Co-op had down by Medicine Hat, and I thought, well, perhaps we can develop a co-op model here for the Aboriginal peoples. The co-op model has been used for over 100 years already, and it's very successful. The governance structure around it helps ensure that the model works well. It's something that we can get together here and provide that. So we went looking and met with the aquaponics people, and we started putting together, gathering all the data. We had an possible end user, so we started pursuing it, and then I looked and thought, well, perhaps we could even expand that. In the discussions with the food service provider, He said that last year they did $65 billion in business, and that not only did they supply the camps, they also supplied a lot of food into the cities. So there are many Aboriginal communities within driving distance of many cities across Canada. So I thought, well, perhaps if we had, is it possible for us to have 1/3 of all the First Nations in Canada develop a system? And I said, I asked the guy, I said, well, we have the potential to put 200 units across Canada in the different First Nations. And he said they had the capacity to be able to buy everything that we could grow to help supply the food industry in Canada. I thought, well, there's potential there to be able to provide healthy food to our community so our people have access to healthy food. We can help provide the industry and the hotel systems or restaurant systems with healthy food that's grown locally. We can help cut down on the greenhouse gases by the transportation industry to have to provide, haul all this product up from down in the southern states. And it could provide sustainable, gainful employment in the Aboriginal community. So it's a win-win-win for everybody. The Indigenous people or the Aboriginal people win by having access to healthy food, first off, having access to sustainable employment. Industry has access to healthy food locally, and they also have access to helping create that gainful employment in the Aboriginal communities, and it's a win-win for everybody. So that's what we're pursuing, and we're in the developmental stages of it. So we will make a follow-up video showing the system once we get it up and operating. Thank you.